All rise. Please be seated. I'm just a couple minutes early, so we'll hang out, wait for everybody. I'm a couple minutes early, and I don't have Mr. Jones on the line yet, so you guys go ahead and get settled in, and we'll start here shortly. 254, the Robson matter in terms of, Sophia. I will also remind everybody that Arizona law prohibits you from disclosing any personally identifiable information about anyone involved in this case. And by remaining on this call, you agree to abide by that prohibition. Failure to do so can result in a contempt finding which could carry jail time and a fine. Mr. Lara? I believe.
Clark Jones, counsel for Sophia, standing in for Matt Lara, GAO.
Mr. Boyd?
Yes, Your Honor, Michael Boyd, Assistant Attorney General for DCS.
Ms. Stillwell?
Megan Stillwell, GL for Mom.
Ms. Roberts, can you state your name?
Brittney Roberts, mother.
Ms. Mhuto?
Marsha Garrett-Mhuto, DCS case manager.
Okay, and you are, ma'am?
My name's Elizabeth. I'm just an independent journalist. Just
Okay.
sitting here listening.
And
I'm Grace Porter Dyson, DCS Investigative Supervisor.
and you are?
Brittney Charlotte Ball, DCS PM.
Okay, and I have, we do have a court reporter for today's hearing. I do have somebody identified as Lee and Amy on the line. And what is your relationship to this case?
We are pastor friends of Mandy.
I'm sorry, who?
We're pastor and friends of Mandy.
Of Mandy?
Placement, Sophia.
Oh, okay, okay.
The foster mom.
Okay, all right, got it. Just place yourself on mute, and again, I'll remind you of the admonition, about disclosure. All right, is there anybody else who's on the Court Connect line that has not identified themselves? I have at least what appears to be.
This is Mandy, Your Honor.
I'm sorry?
Sorry, this is Mandy, Your Honor. I'm
Oh.
the foster parent of the
Okay, thank you. Okay, this is the time for the, a trial for mother as to Sophia on the severance. Ms. Roberts, I had set a status conference a week or two ago. You did not appear at that. But that was to let everybody know. It came to my attention that for whatever reason, the first trial we had in this case didn't get recorded on the sound system. So essentially, although we all know the trial took place and we all heard everything, there was no formal record of that. And obviously we want there to be a formal record, so we needed to reset that, okay? I don't know if that was a glitch just, you know, technologically, or if I hit the wrong button or something, but in any event, we now need to do this again, because of there being no record. So with that, in the last trial, everybody had agreed to admit all the exhibits. We have marked all the same exhibits. It's exhibits 1 through 30. Ms. Roberts, do you have any objection to those exhibits at this time?
No.
Mr. Jones?
No objection.
And Ms. Stillwell?
No objection.
Okay, so those are all the department's exhibits. Ms. Roberts, you did not submit any before, and you don't have any with you today of any additional exhibits?
No.
Okay, are we all ready to proceed?
Your Honor, we ask that the exhibits be admitted.
We'll admit, those exhibits. And then, Mr. Boyd, on the petition, the last time you withdrew 2 of the counts, essentially, and you were gonna proceed only on, substance abuse grounds and time and care, is that correct?
That's correct, Your Honor.
And you're gonna do that today?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, so, the only, Sonia will note that the department withdraws the severance grounds of abuse and failure to protect from abuse, and will proceed only on, prolonged substance abuse, and 15 months time in care. Okay, call your first witness.
Yes, ma'am. State calls Ms. Garrett-Mhuto.
And are any of you folks that are here or observing going to be witnesses today? Just observing? Okay.
Do you solemnly swear the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Please proceed.
Yes, ma'am. Ms. Garrett-Mhuto, can you set your full name for the court record?
Marsha Garrett-Mhuto.
And how do you employ Ms. Garrett-Mhuto?
I'm employed as a case manager for the Department of Child Safety.
How long have you been employed in that manner?
Almost 3 years now.
Can you give us a brief description of your education, training, and experience for the position?
I have a associate's degree in early childhood education, and I have a bachelor's degree at the Department of Child Safety. We undergo at least 6 weeks of training plus ongoing training to prepare us for the role as well.
Do you have any prior experience before this position as well?
In what capacity?
That would be relative to what you.
Yes, my family owns daycares and schools, so I've worked with children pretty much all my life.
Are you familiar with this case, JD 532254, involving the child Sophia Robson and her mother, Brittney Roberts?
Yes, I am.
Are you familiar with this case?
I've been the ongoing case manager since mid-year 2020. Right around June, I believe.
Do you know how many case managers were on the case before you took it over?
I believe it was just one prior to me. We were on the same team.
And when you were assigned a case, do you review the case notes and all the case history and reports?
Yes,
Is it customary for ongoing case managers to do that?
it is.
Do you also speak with your supervisors and even the prior case manager if possible to review the case?
I did. The prior case manager was leaving the department, but we did have Tony staff the case as before she left, and I did also review it personally and with my supervisor at the time.
To your knowledge, is this case subject to the Indian Child Welfare Act?
It is not.
And was the child Sophia taken into custody in this case pursuant to a court order on or about January 28, 2019?
Yes.
And to your knowledge, was Sophia found dependent as their mother on or about March 26, 2019?
Yes.
Sophia currently reside in Maricopa County, Arizona?
She does.
And is the Department of Child Safety requesting this court terminate mother's parental rights as to Sophia due to substance abuse and 15 months time in care grounds?
Yes, we are.
Mr. Boyd, it sounds like you're, maybe have, a little congestion, but, I don't think they can hear you on Teams, which is where our court reporter is, so if you could speak up just a little bit, that would be great.
I will, yes, Your Honor. I have been sick for a couple of days, so I'm trying to.
Okay,
get over
no,
it.
I can tell, I just wanna make sure.
Okay.
And sometimes, the speaker's down there, and if you put papers or files over the speaker, that could,
I think it was
it's like a triangle, then it may not be covered. All right, go ahead.
Has Sophia been in an out-of-home placement for a cumulative total period of 15 months or longer pursuant to court order in this case?
Yes, she has.
Were you able to notify the mother about what was expected of her to remedy and what services and behavioral changes were required to mother to address in this case?
Yes.
And how did you do that?
It was, when I came on board, it was during COVID, so a lot of our communication initially was over the phone or through email. She was provided with service letters that discussed the services that the department and supports the department's offering, so that to hopefully remedy the situation and bring the child home.
Have you spoken with mother on numerous occasions?
I have.
Have you texted with mother?
Yes,
Okay, okay.
early on, yes,
Had you emailed mother on occasions as well?
I have.
Can you talk a little bit about the reasons why Sophia was brought into DCS care?
The initial reason, Sophia was in a car with mom and her father at the time, and mom called 911 and stated that the child was in the car and father was under the influence. So they were stopped by the police. Sophia was initially placed with mom, but it was later removed because mom wasn't clear with the arresting officers at the time that she was not to have, she was only to have supervised contact with Sophia.
So there was a family court order that had ordered that mother not have physical custody of Sophia?
Correct.
So at that point, DCS took her into physical custody?
That's correct.
And once that was done, was it determined, what determination did the department have regarding the issues with mother?
I'm sorry, what was?
What issues did the department have with mother that they wanted her to rehabilitate?
Mom has a long history of substance abuse. We wanted her to provide testing on a regular basis through PSI, to engage in substance abuse counseling, to participate in parenting classes at the time so that she can enhance some of her diminished caregiver protective capacities. There was a request for a psychological evaluation and to follow recommendations that came from that, just to name a few.
Can I back up? My recollection is that the incident between mom, dad, Sophia, where mom called the police because she was in the car, occurred in December of 2018. But then Sophia was not taken into care
Until March.
until, I think you testified, January 28th. So do you know why there was that lapse?
No.
Okay, go ahead.
Does the department also have any domestic violence concerns with mother?
There has been a history of domestic violence with relationships that mom has had with, both with Sophia's father as well as with her current partner.
So that was an issue the department wanted mother to address as well?
Correct.
So you mentioned that mother was offered PSI for drug testing, is that correct?
That's correct.
What's the purpose of that?
The purpose is to find out if a parent is engaging in any substance abuse, and if so, get them the proper counseling and services to kind of help alleviate that, get them over their addiction.
Is it important for a parent to demonstrate sobriety to the department and to the court?
It is. It goes into the safety and their ability to safely parent.
If a parent isn't testing, what does that mean to the department?
The department will have concerns as to why. We'll want to, whether or not they are not wanting to admit if they were involved with services, if they're not wanting to get clean, if they are involved with substance abuse. So it's important that we find out if they are using any substances so that we can help them. But usually if they're not testing, it's because they don't want to admit to the abuse.
How is mother done in testing in this case?
Early on, there was a test that was done. Since I've been on the case, there hasn't been much testing. There's been lots of conversations about providing both a hair follicle and or just UAs in general, but it's not something that Ms. Roberts has engaged in.
So early on, and you mentioned early on in the case that mother tested a few times. Would it be accurate that mother tested positive for THC on or about March 13th, 2019, March 22nd, 2019, March 29th, 2019, April 1st, 2019, March 13th, 2019.
March 13th?
March 13th, 2019, yes. January 31st, 2019, March 9th, 2020, March 12th,
Can we not read, can you ask a single question?
Sorry.
If, I'm sure you're aware, I do go through the, exhibits pretty thoroughly, so you can ask for one day at a time, or how you want
Okay,
to
no,
do it,
that's
but we're
fine.
not doing that.
There was only one mistake. Were those dates that mom test positive for THC? Are you aware of mom, mother tested positive?
Yes.
Are you aware of other times that mother tested positive for other times?
Since this case, the mother has had 2 other children, and each time she tests positive at.
I recall his mother also tested positive. Six, and that positive cocaine test is at page 87. So other than the few times that we've discussed already that mom tested early on in the case in 2019 and early 2020, has mother tested since then?
No.
Does that concern you that she's not tested in over a year and a half or so?
Very much so, especially since there's been 2 other births since then.
You mentioned that both children born since Sophia were born substance exposed?
That is correct.
Are you aware of an incident where mother pled guilty to aggravated operating a motorized watercraft vehicle in 2015?
Yes.
Can you describe those circumstances?
I guess, out boating with friends, and she was under the influence operating one of the machines and was charged at that time.
For the court, that's exhibit number 25 that describes that arrest in those circumstances. Are you also familiar with a more recent case when mother was arrested that had to do with illegal substances?
Yes.
And that was fairly recent, is that correct?
That's correct. Mom was at a casino, and was reportedly driving recklessly through the parking garage and the parking lot, screaming at pedestrians and police as police were trying to wave her down and get her to stop. She barely sideswiped casino goers who were outside along the sidewalk, and took off from police, and there was a pursuit that happened that led from the casino into, I don't know if it was Mesa or Phoenix, I have to look at the report and see, but she did take off and later was subsequently arrested at the DCS office following the visit.
For the court, that is exhibit number 24 that indicates that arrest in those circumstances. Was mother also ordered by this court to participate in hair follicle testing?
Several times.
Were at least 2 of those times on July 27th, 2020, and about a year later, July 27th, 2021?
Sounds about right, yes.
Did mother ever participate in those court-ordered hair follicle tests?
No, she did not.
Zachary was born, you mentioned he was born substance exposed. Is it true that he also tested positive, his meconium tested positive for methamphetamine and amphetamine?
That's correct.
I'm sorry, you said Grayson?
Zachary.
Okay. I'm sorry, can you ask that question again?
Yes, you indicated that Zachary was born substance exposed. Isn't it also true that his meconium tested positive for methamphetamine and amphetamines?
Yes.
The department has put in Teros referrals for mother, is that correct?
Several.
How many total, do you know?
If I had to guess,
Well, I don't want you to guess, if you can estimate.
I can estimate at least, 4 or 5.
Okay.
For the court's record, the mother's Teros records are included 22 and 23.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear the last part of that.
Well, that's where they were updated.
Oh, okay.
Exhibit.
Yeah.
The mother initially did a Teros assessment, is that correct, on or about February 12th, 2019?
Yes, she did.
And during that assessment, she indicated, current use of meth, alcohol, and marijuana, and a history of marijuana use beginning at age 15, alcohol at 17, and methamphetamines, in 2000, around 2015, is that correct?
Yes.
And Teros had recommended mother for intensive outpatient services, is that true?
Yes.
And during this first Teros referral, mother did attend several group sessions, is that correct?
She did.
But then on April 16th, 2019, mother was sent a 10-day closure letter due to her lack of participation, is that correct?
Yes.
And then a new referral was placed for mother in August of 2019, is that correct?
Yes.
And mother failed to engage at that time, is that true?
That is correct.
So then, a few months later, in November, she was re-referred to Teros, and again, she did not participate in that referral, did she?
That is correct.
There was another referral in or about August of 2020, and mother completed one session and then closed out for non-participation again. Does that sound accurate?
Yes. And at that point, the sessions were virtual.
And since that one closed out in 2020, several more referrals were placed in order for mother to participate, is that correct?
That's correct.
She never further engaged in that service?
No, she did not.
Is it safe to say that mother's had Teros and PSI referrals open and available to her throughout this case?
Yes, including currently.
You believe that mother has taken full advantage of those services?
She is not.
Does that concern you?
Very concerning.
And why is that?
Because, as mom has reported, that she does have a long history of substance abuse and not just one substance. And, it is concerning that her history of abuse is so long, and there are children that need her to be alert, and available really, for safe parenting. And it just hasn't been, something she's been willing to participate in.
The mother has not demonstrated any period of sobriety in this case, is that correct?
No,
And she's not successfully completed any substance abuse program, is that correct?
that is correct.
One moment, I think. Hi, I just admitted a couple folks that had been waiting in the lobby. My apologies, as I'm typing notes, I'm not necessarily paying attention to who may be on hold. Mr. Lara, would you like to state your appearance, please?
Matthew Lara, a government line for Sophia.
Okay, and I do have, I believe, Casa on the line, and again, ma'am, my apologies if you've been waiting. We've been ongoing, but I've been typing notes. Can you state your appearance as well, ma'am?
Yes, Julie Hanser, Casa for Sophia.
Okay, thank you. Okay. For those of you who just joined us, and I know Mr. Jones, you were covering for Mr. Lara, we're partway through Ms. Mhuto's direct testimony. Counsel, can you ask your last question or two again, please? The last note I have is whether or not that her testimony is that mother has not demonstrated a length of time of sobriety.
Right, so is it true that mother has not demonstrated any periods of sobriety in this case and has not successfully completed any substance abuse program in this case?
That is true.
And that is concerning to the department?
That is concerning to the department because her inability to demonstrate sobriety also is an indicator that she is probably using, and that the children need a sober, safe parent in the home with them.
You mentioned that in 2019, mother did participate in a psychological evaluation. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Then after Grayson was born, more than a year had passed since that evaluation, and the department had asked mother to do an updated psychological evaluation. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Did mother participate in the updated evaluation?
No, she did not.
Is the 2019 eval an exhibit?
It is not an exhibit. Let's talk about mother's visitation a little bit with Sophia. Has mother, how has mother done with visiting with Sophia?
So the previous judge, prior to me joining the case as the case manager, had put a stop to visits for both parents, due to a incident that happened in the courtroom. Mother had, I guess, suspicions that Mr. Robeson was inappropriately, sexually touching Sophia inappropriately, and during a court hearing, she came in and attacked Mr. Robeson. And because of that, the judge at the time decided to halt all visits. So there was a period of time where there were no visitations between Ms. Roberts and Sophia. And then Ms. Roberts indicated that she wanted to start back up with her visits, and they were therapeutic, thank you, I was trying to think of the term. There were therapeutic visits that were set up, so that it would be a support for both mom and Sophia, because it had been a long time since they'd seen each other. And during that time, there was only minimal contact that mom had with her in the form of like letters. And I think we started with that. We asked mom to start by writing her letters, sending cards through me, so that to kind of get Sophia ready.
Okay, can you tell me your best estimate of when the therapeutic visits were set up, either a season or a month, and what year?
It was 6 months before Zachary was born, and he was born in March.
After Grayson?
Yes.
So that would have been roughly late summer, early fall of 2021.
Yes. So therapeutic visits began, and, Mom showed up for those visits. She brought activities, for her and Sophia to do. She brought, lots of cookies and treats and things that, I'm sure was her way of, showing her daughter how much she missed her, and was happy to be with her. I saw it as a celebratory thing. Mom, right of the last visit that they were scheduled to have, did not happen. And, I later found out that Mom had, given birth to Zachary. Meanwhile, or keep in mind that leading up to this time, through the case aid, I was being told, I think Ms. Roberts is pregnant, I think Ms. Roberts is pregnant. I reached out and asked if she was expecting, and she said no, emphatically no. So she denied her pregnancy, and hid it from the department. And, that was concerning, considering her history and her last baby, Grayson, being born substance exposed. So when she missed a visit, I knew there was a reason, and that's when I, started calling around to the local hospitals to see if she had, admitted for delivery.
So after Zachary was born, was there a period of time when mother did not visit Sophia?
Yes, so after Zachary was born, while she was still in the hospital, Ms. Roberts and Mr. Moose basically staged the hospital room to look as if she was sleeping in her bed, Zachary was in his crib, and they absconded from the hospital by cutting off both hers and the baby's band, and left the hospital through the ER emergency room doors in the middle of the night. And so because of that, the department did ask for an emergency stop to visitations, out of concern that she may try to abscond with Sophia and Grayson as well.
How long did it take from the time that they left the hospital before Zachary was brought back into care?
So that was in March, and
That he was born.
Yes. He came back into care while I was out on unexpected medical leave, and I believe it was, December or January. I would have to look at, the court report to see the exact date that he was brought back in care.
It was several months.
Oh, several months.
6 months, approximately.
Yes.
And during that time, mother wasn't visiting with Sophia, presumably because she's absconded with Zachary, is that correct?
That's correct.
Well, you also
Okay.
requested the court order to stop visits, right?
Correct. I was gonna explain, we did have the court order granted to stop visits, but the department was still trying to reach out and communicate to Ms. Roberts to find out where she is, where Zachary is, based on her history, to see if we can assess him. And finally was able to track her down at her mother's home.
But that was the incident that occurred in August of 2021, correct?
That was correct. That was August, that was prior to him coming into care. There was a court order for a pickup in August when we finally located her and the baby. However, we were refused access. Mesa PD was present, they were refused access, and we were only allowed to look at the baby through a bedroom window, which was hardly a way of assessing.
How long did that incident take place? My recollection from Grayson's trial was that the police were involved for a fairly lengthy period of time.
It was, I think we started around 3-4 o'clock in the afternoon. It had, by 5, it was raining and we were there. It was probably a 4 to 5 hour event that took place.
And Mother's visitation rights with Sophia were eventually reinstated, is that correct?
No. Not after that incident.
So from then until now, she's been in her court order not to visit.
She's not requested, through a court order, she's not requested that order be uplifted, that I can recall, to the best of my recollection.
When was the last time Mother did visit Sophia?
It would have been in, mid to the end of March when Zachary was born. She hasn't given me letters, she hasn't given me any cards or anything, gifts, holidays to bring to Sophia.
So let's talk a little bit about how Sophia is doing now. Who is she placed with?
She's been with her licensed foster mother for almost, at least 2 years, if not close to 3. She's been with her licensed foster placement for a while now.
And how is she doing there?
She is still, she's doing well with her placement. Her placement is a licensed therapist, so she's definitely equipped to handle some of the concerns that still seem to be going on with Sophia. Sophia has struggled with the history that she's had with both her mother and her father. She struggles with feeling abandoned. She struggles with understanding her role. She wants permanency. She wants to know that her home is a forever home. And because she doesn't have that security, it's always a battle with her, I think, because of that.
Do you know Sophia wants to be adopted?
She does.
And what are the circumstances today that are keeping Sophia from reunifying with Mother?
The circumstances today are the same that they've been all along. Ms. Roberts, to this day, hasn't participated in any of the services and supports that the department has offered to her to reunify with Sophia. She's still unwilling to test. She's still unwilling to involve with substance abuse counseling. She's refused to engage in any of the services up until this point.
Well, that's not quite true. She has tested some. She has engaged in some of the substance abuse treatment. It's been a while.
Oh, yeah, I'm talking recently. He asked what today is stopping, and I'm saying she hasn't done any of those things now.
Okay.
I'm sorry. The one thing that she is doing is visitations with Zachary.
Okay. In your opinion, is there a substantial likelihood that Mother would be capable of exercising parental care and control in the near future?
No.
And why do you believe that?
There hasn't been, in the 2+ years that I've been on the case, there hasn't been a time where she's demonstrated she has that ability.
Based upon your training and experience, is there a relationship between the parents' past performance and services and their future performance?
Yes.
Also, as a case manager, your duties include formulating opinions regarding whether a parent is unable to discharge their parental duties because of chronic substance abuse?
Yes.
And you typically rely on reports from service providers, drug testing reports, your own DCS training, consultation conversation with, your supervisors and staffings in formulating these types of opinions?
That's correct.
And have you formulated opinion in this case regarding whether mother is unable to discharge her parental responsibilities because of chronic drug use?
I have.
And what's your opinion on that?
It is my opinion that Ms. Roberts is unwilling and unable to, discharge her parental abilities due to her substance abuse.
And in your opinion, are there reasonable grounds to believe that this condition will continue for a prolonged, indeterminate period?
Yes.
And why do you believe that?
As you said, history is an indicator, past history is an indicator of current, of what I can expect in the future. And historically, Ms. Roberts has not been willing to engage. She's not been willing to demonstrate. She's not shown that she wants to parent. And so there's nothing that shows me that would be any different in the future.
If the court weren't going to grant a termination, would Sophia be in a position to return home with mother anytime soon? Is it safe to say that we would pretty much be starting from square one?
Yes.
Do you think that's in Sophia's best interest to do that?
Absolutely not.
Do you think the department has given mother sufficient time to remedy the circumstances that caused Sophia to be in out-of-home placement?
I do.
And mother hasn't taken advantage of the services that have been offered by the department?
No, she's not.
Do you believe that Sophia's current placement is the least restrictive placement and in her best interest at this time?
Yes, I do.
Do you believe that the case plan of severance and adoption is in Sophia's best interest?
Yes, I do.
Is the current placement for Sophia willing to adopt her?
Yes, she is.
Are they able to meet all of her needs?
Yes.
Does Sophia have any particular special needs?
Sophia is in trauma therapy, and has been for a while. She's been doing her work, and making sure that she, is getting the help that she needs from.
She who?
Sophia.
Placement or Sophia?
Sophia, did I?
Well, you say she is making sure she gets, so Sophia's in trauma therapy.
Sophia is in trauma therapy,
Okay.
and Sophia, I'll just use her name. Sophia is learning, the appropriate coping skills so that Sophia can process, her trauma, her own trauma in a healthy way.
And placement's doing everything they can to help facilitate Sophia and those things?
Yes, they are.
And you said placement is a therapist or a counselor?
She's a licensed therapist. Or, I'm sorry, a licensed social worker. Did I say therapist before? My apologies. Social worker.
If for any reason the current placement was not able to adopt, is Sophia otherwise adoptable?
Yes, she is.
How would Sophia benefit from having the parental rights terminated?
Sophia has for a long time been wanting the judge to know that she wants to be adopted, that she wants to have a forever home, that she doesn't have to ever again wake up and wonder if this is gonna be the last day that she's in this house, so to speak. So, if parental rights were terminated, Sophia would be able to move forward with her own life without that hanging over her head. She can focus on other things. She'll have a sense of security. She will have, which will hopefully lead to a sense of an independence, for herself, instead of having to always have DCS in her life in this sense.
So in a sense, it would provide her with permanency.
Yes, in other words.
And it would also provide her a safe, stable home.
Yes.
And how would Sophia be harmed if the parental rights were not terminated?
I think, if parental rights were not terminated, Sophia would be left in limbo and with where she is right now with her with her permanency, and I think that that would, do her undue harm.
I can just take a second to look
Sure.
over my notes real quick. Ms. Garrett-Mhuto, is there anything else that you can think of that I haven't asked you that you think is relevant to the case here today?
Not this time.
Thank you. I have any further questions?
Mr. Lara, do you have any questions for Ms. Mhuto?
Okay, John.
Mr. Jones?
No questions, Your Honor.
Okay, hold on. I have. I seem to have, several folks that call in, they're in the lobby and then they hang up, so give me a moment. Hi, who did I just admit, from a 970-521, phone number?
McKinnon?
I'm sorry, who? Oh, Mr.
Ollie
McKinnon?
McKinnon?
Mr. McKinnon, you're not on till 3 o'clock and we're in the middle of a trial, sir. Are you able, it's 2:18 Arizona time. Are you able to, call us back at a minute or two before 3 p.m. in about 45 minutes from now?
Yes, so.
Okay, ask whoever assisted you with, I know you're incarcerated, sir, so ask whoever assisted you with this call. I'm gonna disconnect you, and if you call in about 40 minutes, which will be 3 o'clock our time, we'll take a break from the trial and get with you, okay? Thank you, sir.
Okay, thanks.
All right, sorry about that. We will be taking a break at 3 o'clock, because I do have another matter. And I'm sorry, Mr. Jones, was that you don't have any questions?
That's correct.
Okay, Ms. Roberts, would you like to take a brief recess and consult with your guardian ad litem, Ms. Stillwell?
Yes.
Okay, and then we'll resume the examination. You'll have the opportunity to examine Ms. Mhuto. I know we've done this a couple times now, so you know the process, and then what we'll do is, I don't know, I assume Mr. Boyd may have some questions for you, and then I'll let you just tell me what you want me to know about from your perspective, okay? All right, Ms. Stillwell, your client, says she's going to, are you gonna call Ms. Stillwell?
Yes.
Your client is gonna step out, I think, and call you, so Ms. Stillwell, if you wanna disconnect, we will all check the lobby. It's 2:20, we'll resume at 2:30. And I will just remind everybody that if you're in the courtroom, you're on the record and the system is recording. So, just no private conversations or anything. Okay, we'll reconvene at 2:30.
Thank you.
Yeah. Oh, wait, hold on. Okay, yeah, gotcha.